love me, baby? Will you tell me maybe that some
Well, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, little darling, and tell me that you never leave me. Come on, let's go, again, again, and again. Well, now swing me.
Hello, baby. Yeah, this is the Big Bopper speaking. Oh, you sweet thing. Do I want? Will I want? Oh, baby, you know what I like. Chantilly lace and a pretty face and a...
Started up this incline. It was snowing real bad, and the bus just started going slower and slower. And the lights got dimmer and dimmer, and all of a sudden the bus stopped. The driver said, "The bus is frozen." The hellish travel conditions would be what drove Holly to chartering an airplane on the night of February 3rd.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, little darling, and tell me that you never leave me. Come on, let's go, again, again, and again.
For 17-year-old Richie Valens, the youngest star on the tour, the Winter Dance Party was the high point of a career that was just starting to take off.
Hi everybody, this is Richie Valens. I will be on the Winter Dance Party coming your way very shortly. I will be having a ball singing for you, and I hope to see you all real soon. By the way, hope you have been hearing a lot of my latest Delphi release, La Bamba and Donna.
Hi, gang. This is the Big Bopper, and I'll be on your winter dance party coming your way real soon. We'll be swinging and singing and looking forward to saying hello, baby, to all of you in person.
Hi, this is Buddy Holly. The Crickets and I are really happy to be coming your way on the winter dance party. We certainly hope to see all our old friends and be making some new ones, too. Also, I hope you like my latest choral release, Heartbeat. See you soon.
But things changed when Richardson's flu, which he'd been battling for days, got worse. Jennings graciously gave the ailing Big Bopper his seat. Valens, who famously hated airplanes, was fighting a bad cold himself and asked Alsop for the other seat.
Buddy Holly had won worldwide fame for hits like Peggy Sue. Richie Valens had broken ethnic barriers with La Bamba. The Big Bopper was a DJ who had scored a hit of his own with Chantilly Lace. That night, they gave more than 1,000 teenage fans at the Surf Ballroom a show they would never forget. At the time, Holly's song, That'll Be the Day, was #1 on the charts. He was just 22 years old. When their performance was over, the three stars
Alsop said, "No, let's flip a coin for it." I don't know why I said we should flip for it, because I'd been telling him no all evening. But I pulled a $50 out of my pocket. I've never understood what made me. It just happened. I flipped the 50-cent piece and said, "Call it." Richie said, "Heads." And it came down heads.
Vividly saying to my wife, "Look at that. Snow is incredible." Cold northeast wind blew as Carol Anderson drove Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper to the Mason City Airport. The U.S. Weather Bureau issued a flash advisory warning of bad weather on the plane's route, but pilot Roger Peterson never received the information.
Mason City traffic, Japan 3794 November, taxi in runway 17.
It was cold and windy, snowing. Time, not quite 1 a.m. February 3rd, 1959. Just past midnight. Buddy Holly.
Runway 17.
It looked to me like it was a perfect takeoff.
In the darkness, the plane carrying 3 of the biggest stars in rock and roll had just disappeared.
According to the Civil Aeronautics Board's report, the aircraft took off toward the south in a normal manner. After flying approximately 5 miles, witnesses back at the airport saw the plane's taillight slowly descending before completely disappearing. Radio contact with the aircraft disappeared as well. Aerial searches conducted the next morning found the plane in a snow-covered farm. The official report by the Civil Aeronautics Board concluded that Roger Peterson, the 21-year-old pilot, was too inexperienced to be flying in a snowstorm.
The day after the accident, Coroner Ralph Smiley wrote the death certificates of all 4 victims.
The skull was split medially in the forehead, and this extended into the vertex region. Approximately half the brain tissue was absent. There was bleeding from both ears, and the face showed multiple lacerations. The consistency of the chest was soft, due to extensive crushing injury of the bony structure. The left forearm was fractured 1/3 of the way up from the wrist, and the right elbow was fractured. Both thighs and legs showed multiple fractures. There was a small laceration of the scrotum. Fingerprints were taken of the deceased for purposes of identification.
Trying to put together a story of a happy success to 3 young singers that ended in a very sad death this morning early in the cornfield near Mason City in Clear Lake, Iowa.
The plane went down minutes after takeoff, just 5 miles northwest of the airport.
Went out last night, never got to Fargo.
DJ Bob Hale was at radio station KIRB.
And of a light aircraft outside the Mason City. To that wreckage site of that airplane you had the bulletin on. I said, why were you there?
The one wing had hit the ground.
All 3 stars were thrown from the twisted wreckage. The body of pilot Roger Peterson was pinned inside.
I seen 12 to 15 feet from the airplane. One was Buddy Holly and one was Richie Valens. And I said to Sheriff Allen, where the Big Bopper lays over there.
This is a day that ended in tragedy for 3 of the biggest names in the music business. The names in order of bigness probably would be Richie Valens, Buddy Holly of the Crickets, and also the Big Bopper.
The Big Bopper was 28 years old, Buddy Holly 22. Richie Valens was only 17.
Buddy Holly's funeral was on February 7th, 1959, in the Tabernacle Baptist Church, Lubbock. Reverend Johnson, who had conducted Buddy's wedding only 6 months before, took the service. Maria Elena, who had suffered a miscarriage on hearing of Buddy's death, was too distraught to attend. She has never visited Buddy's grave. Buddy was laid to rest in Lubbock Cemetery with a simple stone carved with his name in the original spelling. It would be another 12 months before his family received anything from his estate. The money owed by his former management didn't amount to too much.
American Pie speaks to me. 70 came around and I was now beginning to make records.
Long, long time. Bad news on the doorstep. So bright. But something.
I never said it was about him, but to everybody.
Do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul?
Well, the music world has said goodbye to numerous artists this year, but on this day in 1959, 3 young stars died in a plane crash in Iowa. One America's Cameron Kramer has more on the tragedy that's called The Day the Music Died.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry.
Buddy Holly was famous for hits like that, as well as his iconic glasses. But on this day in 1959, the 22-year-old singer and 3 others, including 2 fellow musicians, died in a plane crash in Clear Lake, Iowa. Holly sprung onto the rock and roll scene as an opening act for Elvis Presley, but soon crowds would be flocking to see Holly with singles like That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, and Maybe Baby.
Baby, baby, I'll have you. Baby, baby, you'll be true.
In early 1959, Holly and his band were in the midst of a winter dance party tour across the Midwest. Joining Holly's band were 2 other young musicians, 17-year-old Richie Valens and 28-year-old J.P. Richardson, known as the Big Bopper.
Chantilly lace and a pretty face, I
Commuting by bus on the tour, the harsh winter climate combined with poor routing decisions marred the festivities. Heating problems with the bus played a role in many of the musicians catching the flu, while a drummer suffered frostbite. By early February, the musicians needed to make a change. Hawley decided to charter a plane after playing in Clear Lake, Iowa. The flight would take him and 2 other passengers to Fargo, North Dakota. Valens got his seat on the plane by coin flip, while Richardson was not supposed to be on the flight, but after falling ill, he convinced Waylon Jennings to give up his seat in order to rest. In poor weather, a 21-year-old pilot named Roger Peterson took off with the 3 passengers. Minutes after takeoff, the flight would encounter trouble. The wreckage was found just 6 miles from the airport. All aboard were dead. An investigation showed the young pilot was not trained to fly in the inclement weather, as that required knowledge of specific instrument sets. Today, a tribute featuring Hawley's iconic glasses is located near the crash site, while a fellow musician, Don McLean, addressed the tragedy in this 1971 #1 hit.
But something touched me deep inside the day the music died.
Cameron Kramer, One America News.
Miss American Pie. Did you write